The leadership problem wasn't then. We had secure borders, energy independence, we had lower taxes. We didn't have an inflation problem. And he gave you also, let's see, not one, not two, but 3 vaccines and monoclonal antibodies that you never mentioned until 2.5 weeks ago. You inherited a country with the economy fully on the mend, all the vaccines, all the therapeutics like monoclonal antibodies, a secure border, energy independence, a stable Afghanistan, and Joe, you ruined it all. We have a leadership problem. Under Biden, many economists now fear a looming recession. According to Peter Navarro in the New York Post, welcome back to 70s-style stagflation misery thanks to Uncle Joe. Peter will join us here with reaction, author of In Trump Time, a journal of America's plague year, former trade and manufacturing policy assistant to President Trump, Peter Navarro. I'll be honest, Lawrence Summers is not somebody I thought I'd agree with a lot on policy, but he's dead on accurate, and this is going to get worse. And then we're now looking at supply chain issues all through 2022, inflation into 2023, and gas prices, unless he goes back to energy independence, we're all screwed.
Yeah, Sean, he's only half right. What I'm really worried about is the other part of the equation, the stag part, the recession part of the equation. We haven't had that since 1970. We got the identical conditions now we had then. Profligate fiscal policy, a Fed chairman printing money, and these exogenous cost-push inflationary shocks. I mean, there's so many things going wrong, but let's start with 2 that President Trump had right. First of all, we are the Saudi Arabia of natural gas and energy. And we've got gasoline on fire right now, and natural gas prices are scorching. Now, that's not just energy that's going up. Food production is largely dependent on energy. Fertilizers are made out of natural gas, so we're going to get energy and food price shocks. Buy American, hire American. That were the 2 simple rules, Sean, of President Trump. And we warned for years that if you don't build it here, your supply chains won't be here, and when push comes to shove, you won't be able to get it. And now we got these ships stacked off of Long Beach, and we've got that kind of crisis. And on top of that, whether you believe in a universal vax policy or not, it is simply inflaming the distortions in the labor markets. You got Navy SEALs, firefighters, healthcare workers, teachers, cops. Everybody is saying, hey, if I've already had the virus, got antibodies, why do I need the jab? Again, regardless of your position, it's contributing to labor market distortions. Stagflation is the hardest problem, Sean, to solve in the world, and everything that Biden is doing touches the dirt. I mean, and you're absolutely right, Sean. The last thing we need to do right now is to pass the $3.5 trillion New Deal and that fake $1 trillion infrastructure deal. It's just gonna be crazy. This can last a decade. I'm not worried just about Christmas. And by the way, Sean, what is the Department of Transportation Secretary going on a 2-month leave in the middle of a crisis like this? It's offensive to the American people. Nobody seems to be at home in the Biden White House, and Trump was the most accessible president in history, and now Biden won't even take a question. We never vetted him. Sean, last time I saw you was on the south lawn of the White House at the Republican convention. Neither one of us ever dreamed that Biden, if he got elected, would do every single thing wrong. Southern border, Afghanistan, economy, you name it, he's not doing it right.
Peter, look into your crystal ball. Tell us what you see in the short term and long term.
In the short term, we're clearly running towards a stagflationary problem. It's absolutely essential, Sean, that no more bills get passed on Congress, not even $1 trillion more. That's going to be bad. What we need to do is do what President Trump wanted to do: buy American, hire American, bring our production on shore. Otherwise, we're going to have shortages like we're seeing. This will get out of control. We need to look at that stag part of the problem, Sean. It's the hardest problem to solve. And we went from 1970 to 1980. You remember, Sean, the misery index of Ronald Reagan, which he used to beat Jimmy Carter. It was the unemployment rate, which is the stag part of the equation, plus the inflation rate. Sean, remember what that was? It was 20% in 1980, and Paul Volcker had to induce a major recession to break inflationary expectations. This is the worst I've ever seen it. That's the one thing that I'll agree with Larry Summers on. Joe, it's harder than it looks, and you don't know what you got till it's gone. President Trump wouldn't let any of this happen. All Joe Biden does with a stroke of a pen is undo everything. And by the way, on the border, Sean, I was part of working with Pat Cipollone, the White House legal counsel, when we threatened Mexico with tariffs. People's heads exploded, but we got them on that threat in 24 hours, Sean, to send 15,000 troops to the border and give us those safe third agreements. We doubled that with Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador to get the same thing. We stopped that border crisis in its tracks. We got 2 million illegal aliens coming across the border. Right now, it's simply going to put downward pressure on the people who can least afford it, which is our blue-collar, lower-income Americans. Inflation is the cruelest tax, but stagflation is even crueler.
All right, Peter Navarro, very informative and frightening.